Hi there, I'm Matthew from Patchwerks, and I'm happy to introduce the Moog Mavis, a comprehensive semi-modular analog synthesizer in a small footprint. And similarly to the past released Workstat, which was a limited edition release, this is a DIY build, a very simple DIY build that comes with all the tools that you need to complete the task. However, from what I understand, this is not going to be a limited edition release, so you can expect to get your hands on a Moog Mavis. Now, the Moog Mavis is a monophonic synthesizer, uses a 24 dB ladder filter, so you can expect to hear the classic Moog filter sound. What's special about the Mavis is that it also has wavefolding, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you in just a moment. But also it has this comprehensive patch point system over here, the semi-modular side of the Moog Mavis, and you can make some really complex and interesting sounds using these patch points. So it is a very comprehensive, small synthesizer at a very welcoming price point. I'm going to do some classic ladder filter sweeps so you can get an idea of how good the Moog Mavis sounds. Here's with the pulse wave. With some resonance. This is with the pulse width being modulated. Full resonance filter sweep. Let me go over the front panel with you real quick. Right here we have our semi-modular side of the synthesizer. These are all your patch points that you're going to use. This is also how you would use external keyboards with it. You would send CV out to the CV input and then send gate out to the gate input. This does not have MIDI, just CV and gate to control it. Now here on our utility side, we have our folder, and to access the folder, you come out of the VCO and run it into the fold input, and then you'll be able to use the wavefolder. Below that, we have what is called one level, and this is actually a audio mixer. So you have two inputs to the audio mixer. You have input 1 and input 2, and then you have an output of 1 or an output of 1 plus 2. And you can adjust the level of those output via the one level knob here. Then we have an attenuator, so we have our attenuator input and then an attenuator output, and you can adjust the attenuation via the knob there. We also have a mult with 2 mult outputs. Also, we have sample and hold located inside here. Just about every tool that you need to make most complex sounds you might be after. To the right of our utility section, we have our VCO section. So we have our pitch control along with a waveform control. We are able to interpolate from a sawtooth over to a pulse wave or a square, and we can adjust the pulse width here. You can also use the pulse width modulation here, which you get to choose whether it comes from the envelope generator or from an LFO. And then we also have that same adjustment for the pitch. With both the VCO and the filter, you can choose whether or not you want to use the envelope generator or the LFO to modulate the frequency of that oscillator, or the frequency of the filter cutoff. Now over to the right, we have our filter. So this is a 24 dB ladder filter, low pass filter. To the right of the filter section, we have our VCA section. This is our volume output. And then we also can control whether the VCA is always on, so ignoring the envelope generator, or we can use it with the envelope generator, which is what I have it currently set on. Below that, we have our LFO sections. We have our LFO rate with this pot, and to the right, we have our waveform choice. And then to the right of that, we have our standard ADSR. Below that, we have our keyboard. To the left of the keyboard, we have our keyboard scaling. So when it's turned to the far left, it's going to be what you would expect a keyboard to sound like on a synthesizer. Our keyboard scaling, turning it up, will allow us to reach more notes on a smaller scale. So we can hit higher notes using this same keyboard layout. Turning it all the way up. So we can also turn up the glide here. So a really fantastic sounding synthesizer. Okay, now let's have a demo of the fold. So I'm going to patch the VCO out into the fold input and show you what the wavefolder sounds like. Go over to the sawtooth for that. The wavefolder is definitely most effective on the sawtooth wave. Okay, so that covers most of the features on the Moog Mavis. The rest of it is more complex patching using the semi-modular side of the synthesizer. I'm going to do a couple of patch prompts that the Moog Mavis comes with to demonstrate some of the more complex patching that you can do with the Mavis. The Moog Mavis ships with these wonderful patch prompts. You get 5 of them. They really help you get to know the Mavis and use some of the more advanced concepts. This first patch we're going to listen to is the foldable kick drum, and this is using the wavefolder, as it implies with the name. So let's have a listen. So for this patch, your LFO rate and your wave is going to control the kick drum sweep. We also can fold it. Sounds pretty great. All right, this next patch is called the Detuned Dual Square. Takes advantage of the wavefolder and the mixer section. So this patch is called Who Needs a Sequencer? It uses the sample and hold to trigger the envelope generator and change the pitch. A very fun and cool patch. All right, this patch is called Buzzsaw. It uses the wavefolder and a very fast LFO to make some very interesting and complex sounds. Excellent patch. Okay, this last patch example I'm going to show you is called Foldable Bass, and it uses the wavefolder once again. An excellent patch to experiment with the wavefolder. You may notice that when you turn up the resonance on ladder filters, you usually get a gain reduction, so it sounds a lot quieter. You can expect this synthesizer to act that way. If you want it to be louder, you just need to turn the resonance down. Or of course, turn the VCA up. All right, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this demo of the Moog Mavis. I'm Matthew from Patchwerks. If you're interested in getting yourself a Moog Mavis, visit patchwerks.com.